Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month, March 2019. Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month is a compilation of the weird, disturbing, and downright baffling stories currently happening in our world. From UFOs to serial killers, ancient sites, mysterious creatures, and even ghosts. These are the Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month for March 2019. Number 5. Ex-CNN reporter burglarized. Two former CNN news anchors, Lynne Russell and her husband, Chuck de Caro, were in the middle of a road trip when they stopped for a night at a Motel 6 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. After meeting with friends and family in the area, they decided to stay at the cheap motel because it was the only one that allowed dogs. That evening, Russell headed out of the room to head to the car, and she left the motel door open. But right after returning to the room, a man pushed her inside where he then held her at gunpoint. Chuck was in the shower at the time, and when he walked out, he saw his wife being held hostage by the gunman. Russell herself was a former sheriff's deputy, licensed private investigator, former bodyguard, and black belt martial artist, while de Caro was a former special forces member and military expert. Both could tell the man had experience robbing people and wouldn't hesitate to shoot anyone, so they were careful. They spoke easy to him and tried to calm him down. Russell even offered to check her purse to see if there was anything she could give him. The man allowed her to do so, and when she was checking her purse, she slid one of the two licensed concealed handguns that the couple owned and hid it nearby. She then handed the purse to her husband because at this time, the gunman was more interested in a briefcase de Caro owned that was sitting nearby. As the man headed for the briefcase, out of nowhere, he started shooting at de Caro. De Caro's instincts kicked in and he quickly scrambled for the gun in the purse and returned fire. After expending several rounds, he grabbed the other handgun, even while taking fire and losing blood. But, in the end, the gunman was killed. De Caro was hit at least 3 times, but miraculously none of the bullets hit any vital organs and he survived the incident. Police don't believe the couple were targets because of who they were. In fact, they think the perpetrator didn't think anybody was inside the room at all when he headed for the open door. He thought it would just be an easy target. The suspect turned out to be parolee 27-year-old Tamorio Walton. Later, police announced there could have been a second suspect as well. Then, just days later, they caught 30-year-old Sky Bars. They say he was Walton's getaway driver and had planned the robbery with him because police found text messages exchanged between the two men. De Caro recovered from his injuries, and Russell has gone on today to be vocal about the Second Amendment and the importance of gun ownership. Number 4. Mysterious creature kills llamas in Kentucky. In Louisville, Kentucky, llama farm owner Caroline Willette was heading out to check on her animals recently one morning. The moment she neared the fence, though, she knew something was immediately wrong when she saw blood and wood littering the large open field. Once inside, that's where she found 5 llamas dead. All had bite marks behind their ears and their flanks. A 6th llama was then found, so severely wounded that it had to be put down. There were others that were injured as well, but they managed to survive. It appears none of them had been eaten, as you would expect from an animal attack, but instead simply bitten and attacked. What's confusing to the owner is that her llamas weigh close to 500 pounds each. They were actually kept as guard animals and are usually aggressive and capable of defending themselves, so it's strange they were so easily attacked and killed. Police suspect that whatever did this had to be something very large. Suspicion gravitated towards the animals from the Louisville Zoo, which sat next to the llama farm. However, zoo officials said none of their animals had anything to do with the attacks because all were in their cages and accounted for. Curiously, this isn't the first time animals have been attacked in the state. In 2018, several animal mutilations were discovered in the area as well. Also, just days after these llamas were attacked, another owner found 2 of her donkeys killed. The donkeys also showed unusual bite marks that seemed to be canine in nature, according to one examiner. However, they could not determine the cause of death or request an autopsy because the donkeys were so badly decomposed. Although most point to a coyote as a possible suspect, many of the locals believe there's a possibility it might be a big cat of some sort, or even some unknown creature. Law enforcement have warned locals to keep an eye on their animals and pets, even their own children when outdoors. and to never leave them outside alone since they might attract whatever strange creature is hunting in the area. Number 3. Prison nurse poisons husband. It was all in the name of love when Iberia, Missouri corrections nurse Amy Murray met convicted felon 40-year-old Eugene Clayton. The two developed a relationship. She had expressed to the inmate that she didn't want to be married to her husband anymore and told him that when her husband was out of the picture, they could finally be together and be married. So, on December 11, 2018, firefighters responded to a report of a fire happening at a home in Iberia. Once they secured the area, they made a chilling discovery inside the house. It was there that they found the body of 40-year-old Joshua Murray dead in his bed. During the autopsy, it was determined Murray had been dead even before the home was set ablaze. It further showed Murray was poisoned using antifreeze and left inside the master bedroom as the fire raged on. When police questioned Amy, she said she went out of the house with their 11-year-old son and their dogs. They went to a McDonald's to grab dinner, and when they returned home, the house was already on fire, and she didn't try to go in and check on her husband because the smoke was too thick. But investigators found a McDonald's sandwich sitting on top of the kitchen counter. Amy Murray was arrested immediately and charged with first-degree murder and arson in the death of her husband. Police point to her relationship with inmate Eugene Clayton as the motive for the killing. Amy Murray is currently jailed with a bond of $750,000. Number 2. Jasmina Dominic. For years now, no one knew where then 23-year-old Jasmina Dominic from Mala Subotica in northern Croatia had gone. She simply vanished into thin air one day, back in 2000. But after 18 years, police were shocked to have finally discovered her body last month close to her home. In fact, it was inside her home because she had been kept in a freezer in the hallway of the family's house in the small village of Pavlovek. According to police, looking back, there were efforts by the family to hide the fact that Jasmina had disappeared. Although she was last seen in 2000, no one in the family reported her missing until 2005. What's more, during the investigation, family members told police that she had gone to live overseas. The police checked the house during the first investigation, but they weren't able to find anything, and none of the evidence seemed to point to anything suspicious. Despite a thorough investigation then, police came up empty-handed and for years had no idea where the young woman had gone. Although official reports don't state how exactly police discovered the body inside the home so many years later, reports say they found the body was stashed inside a refrigerator. The house is owned by Jasmina's sister, Smiljana, who is 45 years old now. She was living together there with her 3 kids and has now been arrested in connection with the death. An autopsy is pending on the body, but police believe foul play was certainly involved. The case has shocked many of those in Croatia and got them wondering how the family has lived all those years with a dead body in their midst. Police are still unsure whether Jasmina's family all knew what happened to her or if it's simply her sister. The investigation is currently still ongoing. Number 1. Mother charged in family slang. For weeks, relatives and family members have been trying to get child services and police to check in on the Decree home in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. But when a representative from the Bucks County Children and Youth Services finally visited the family and knocked on the door, no one came to answer. There were supposed to be 8 people living in that apartment, so at some point, someone should have come to the front door. The social worker then called police, and once officers entered, they found 5 dead bodies inside one room and 2 disoriented females, Shauna Decree and her 19-year-old daughter, Dominique. The dead victims included Shana Decree's daughter, Naira Smith, who was 25, Shana's son, Damon Decree Jr., who was 13, Shana's sister, 42-year-old Jamila Campbell, and Jamila's twin daughters, Imani and Erica Allenbooth, both just 9 years old. According to police, the apartment was in complete disarray. Furniture was overturned and glass and broken pieces of walls were everywhere. One victim was found face up on the bed, the head towards the end of the bed, while the right foot went through the wall into the next room, indicating something painful and violent occurred. Then another person was discovered dead sitting against the bed, while one of the children was on the floor covering another body underneath. When family members were told of the news, relatives said they knew something was wrong with Shayna and the rest of the family for weeks prior to the murders. Relatives had been trying to get in touch with them for weeks, but no one had been answering the phone. They were also confused why all 8 people were living in the same apartment when Campbell and Smith had their own homes. According to Damon Decree Sr., Shayna's estranged husband and father of Damon, one of the child victims, and Dominique, one of the killers, the family had been talking about demons being all around them. He goes on to say that they had gotten involved in some sort of an online cult, but he said he didn't know much because he had been living away from the family. Initially, both Shayna and Dominique said they didn't have anything to do with what had happened. They then claimed Campbell's boyfriend, along with 2 men, had gone into the apartment and killed everyone. But later on, Shayna said the children had wanted to die and were discussing suicide. The 2 women eventually told investigators they had a complicated plan involving having some of the victims killing each other, while Shayna and Dominique would kill whoever survived. Luckily, there was one family member who did survive, Campbell's 17-year-old son Joshua, who was staying at a friend's place on the day of the slayings. Both women are now in custody and have been held in jail under charges of first-degree murder without any bail available. So they were the strange and scary mysteries of the month for March 2019. Every day we encounter strange and mysterious stories that most of us don't know what to make of. These are just a handful, but there's still so much more to discover. If you enjoy watching this video, then please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We have new videos every Wednesday and Saturday that we know you want to check out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.